Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Kagan. I'm the Reality Capture Quality Manager at Rogers O'Brien Construction. Little agenda about what I'll be talking about today. I'll introduce myself and Rogers O'Brien as a company, go through some industry challenges that we're all facing. And then at RO, we implemented this program with our drone pilots. We named it the Pilot Pilot. And then some results and lessons learned from that program, some future directions that we want to go as a company with that data that we collect, and then some Q&A. Although I'm saving time at the end, feel free to interrupt me if you guys have any questions. I want this to be as interactive as possible as we go through this.
Can everybody hear him?
Yeah,
Okay.
cool. A little bit about myself. Graduated from Lawrence Tech University in Southfield, Michigan with degrees in civil engineering and architecture. I'm currently getting my MBA at SMU. From Detroit, Michigan, big Lions fan, so hopefully we have another good season this year. Dog dad to my boy Scotch, and I'm a big 3D printing nerd. Been in the industry now for 3 years. Started off working at Navis, selling the wearable scanner, the Navis VLX, and I'm coming out at about a year at RO now. Over that time, I've spent over 100 hours flying drones, whether that's recreationally or commercially. In between my time with RO and Navis, I've scanned over 10 million square feet. Here's our reality capture team. Our motto is to capture today's reality to enable tomorrow's builder, and consists of myself, Trevor Owen, and Eloisa Fernandez. And RO, we're a small and mighty company. We're looking to surpass $1 billion in revenue this year. We've been in the industry about 55 years now, and we have 5 offices throughout Texas. So that's Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Waco, and Houston. We want to be Texas's premier builder. With that, we only build in Texas. So if that doesn't show the Texas mindset, I don't know what else does. So what are some challenges we all face? There's new project opportunities coming up. I'm sure everyone here has their hands full with data centers popping up left and right. We've got a skilled labor shortage. So whether it's people retiring or transitioning to other industries, McKinsey did a study and shows that America has almost 500,000 vacancies in AEC. And then tighter margins. So construction as an industry, we already work on razor thin margins. With tighter lending standards, increased inflation, and increased material costs, our margins are getting even slimmer. Construction prices have increased 41% in the last 4 years. And about 70% of firms are still struggling to fill positions. So how many guys here are still looking to fill positions in BIM, VDC, reality capture, construction tech? Yeah, I know RO is. Look around, you guys are all competing with each other with the same talent pool. It's easy to go fill a position, but finding good talent, quality talent, is extremely difficult. So what does RO want to do with this? We want to start driving effective, timely decisions that are based on data. In reality capture, we have similar challenges. We need people to collect our data. Software and hardware is costly. We're inconsistently capturing data, so whether we get a call from a project team, they're like, hey, can you go scan this tomorrow? We haven't established a consistent cadence of capturing our data. And we're slow to adopt using reality capture on projects. Digital tech is the best way to implement innovation in our projects. And our industry, is no stranger to being slow to digitize and innovate. We want to use like a collection of what's already out there. 42% of firms are starting to use basic data analytics in their workflows. However, only 25% are using drones on all their projects, whereas 50% are just starting to get that workflow implemented. So how do we establish this consistent collection? As a company, where we're at today, we collect observational data, so whether that's with drones, 360 cameras, laser scanning. We have very experienced builders, so subject matter experts everywhere around the company. We're known for innovation. We won the Procore Groundbreak Award for Most Innovative Company. And we've invested heavily in drones and 360 cameras. So with that, we're starting to build up that internal awareness and education with our project teams on what these tools can do to help their projects. Where do we want to be tomorrow? We want to start standardizing. We want to drive data-driven decisions without data silos. We've all talked to these software providers. They all call themselves a platform, but they're still all data silos because they don't communicate with each other. We've explored solutions with drone deploy ground, OpenSpace, and QPix. And the goal at RO is to come up with an enterprise agreement with maybe one or two of them, and that will help us integrate with our field engineering team. So those are the guys that are boots in the ground, collecting that data, working with the project teams on a daily basis. And essentially with that, we can enable our operations team, the people that are actually building the projects, to do more with the data that we provide them. And this is where our drone pilot program comes in. It helps bridge the gap of where we are today and where we want to be tomorrow. How does this look at RO? We started off with manual flights. So field engineers will go to a job site, take off with a drone, take progress photos, so 4 corners of a building, overall site image. As they get comfortable doing that and consistently capturing data, we want to equip them with 360 cameras. So throw that on a selfie stick and start capturing job sites, walking around the job site, capturing that data. However, we want to start automating these workflows. We found a local vendor in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and explored a drone-in-the-box solution on a couple of job sites. So that way now I can operate these drones without having to physically be on the job site. And then eventually we want to be fully automated, so include robotics in the workflows, so we can help and assist and then equip our teams with the right tools. In the study by Dodge Data and Analytics, 50% of contractors still manually track performance. So whether that's like on a pen and a piece of paper or taking a picture, throwing it on a desktop and in a folder that no one is ever going to find again. And only 10% are using automatic site data recording. So drones, cameras, site cameras, things like that. We have a visualization team at RO. This works. They help with site logistic plans for pursuits, but they also help create conceptual visualizations of what we mean by these workflows. So here, a field engineer will come on the job site, deploy the drone so it captures the data, deploy a little robot that has a 360 camera. So while the field engineer is establishing site control or doing their layout, this technology is capturing the data for them so they can go handle other things. And they will come back together and move on to the next job site. So let's unpack this pilot. We started off, we need to standardize, we need to be consistent, and we need to be reliable with that data. The goal here is to start building that muscle of capturing this data consistently to make it normal, no matter what the means and methods of capturing the data are. A story I heard the other day with Simone Biles, when she wanted to go back to the Olympics, she told her coaches, like, hey, we want to go back. And they said, no, you need to go back into the gym first, start practicing. So this is what we're trying to do here. We want to build that muscle of capturing data. So then we started implementing this program across our Dallas-Fort Worth area. And we communicated consistently with our field engineers. So if we saw something that we didn't like, we will let them know, and they can go and fix it for the next time. And the plan is to scale across Texas. Like I said, we want to be Texas's premier builder. So the next step is to scale for all our projects. All that together helps feed data-driven decisions. What are we using? It's not sexy. We're using the standard DJI fleet with the Air 2S, a DJI Mini, and a Mavic 3. Throughout the company, we've got 38 drones deployed and 10 360 cameras. The goal here is to perfect the process because hardware changes all the time. I'm sure everyone's aware with what's going on with DJI and the government. So we want to be able to change at a moment's notice. Software that we use, Monday.com for project management, Procore for storing and viewing that data, and then AirHub Portal to get that federal regulation so we can fly. Again, the most important thing is not the software, but the process. We also have this platform called Guru. It helps us standardize our procedures. It's kind of like a playbook card where anyone in the company can look this up. So if they're flying drones, they can see what we expect, when to fly, how to view the weather on the Procore app, when can they fly, what weather conditions, what we expect the photos to look like, how to properly name the photos, what folder to store in Procore. so that it's consistent throughout the company. Doesn't matter who's flying the drone. And then in Monday.com, this is what it looks like. Whoops. We have our projects listed out, whether or not they need that federal authorization through Lance, if it's currently in progress or should be on our radar at upcoming. Again, not every single project is perfect. QC in progress, that means someone like myself will go through the photos and start checking them. Field testing means like I wasn't satisfied with the results, so I'll let the field engineering know, and they're making the changes for the next time they fly. We can see who's flying, when they're flying, and the time of day. And then when I click on the link where it says aerial progress photo, that'll take me to Procore, where I can see over time if they've been effectively making those changes and how the project has evolved over time. This is also something that owners like to see, the timeline of their project as it's being built. We also use a Gantt chart to see how a project is ending, and we have a new one coming up. So we're able to communicate with the field engineering team and see what their capability is of adding this new project to their workflow, depending on the location. Go into a case study. One project I want to talk about is called COSM. This is in the Colony Grandscape in Texas. It's one of two locations, the other one being in LA by SoFi Stadium. For RO, we built this project entirely off the model. So RFIs were done by the model. They're making design changes in the model and then reflecting that in the field, so no paperwork. It's a immersive fan experience, so like the Sphere in Las Vegas. It's another take on that. Here we started off looking at it the first time we flew. It's a cropped out image of the site. Got one corner. Saw it a second time, so maybe the field engineer took it twice. That's okay. But then I saw it a third time with no other context, so it took one corner 3 times. That's where I would tell them, like, hey, we need all 4 corners of the building and the overall site, not one corner 3 times. Coming to the most recent, we got the full site. We had all 4 corners. And then that would, in Monday.com, that would go from the QC in progress to the passing the QC. So that we're essentially closing that feedback loop, and they're applying what we recommend. Another project, Upper Room Church in Dallas, Texas. This consists of a mass timber canopy. If there's any architecture nerds here, I love mass timber construction. They had glulam beams with cross-laminated timber panels. All the panels weigh around 9,000 pounds each. So this project has size and beauty. This was a case where everything was done perfect from the beginning. So the first time we implemented this program, we got all 4 corners and then a full site image. And this is the most recent. So you can see over time how the project has progressed. Owners love seeing this. Like, here is our project in February. Here it is in April. You know, it looks good. And sometimes when the field engineers are on site, a project team member will be like, hey, can you do some extra shots? Here they got the mass timber canopy for the owner to make them a little happier. Again, this will go from QC in progress to passing that QC. So to summarize what I've been talking about, the overview, our state of reality capture, where were we? Lack of standardization. We didn't have standard operating procedures. Our workflows weren't there. With this program, we started developing that consistency, adding rapport with our project teams. So now they're a little bit more interested in listening to us and us implementing technology in their projects. And now we can get into the fun stuff. Where do we want to go with this? Rogers O'Brien has his unique vision of a command center. So if you think about those airplane command towers, we have a whole bunch of screens and they can see how the flights are doing. We want to do this with all our projects. So superintendent can walk into the office and see all his projects, can see heads or tails, the lifespan, or like how the health of their project is doing. We will feed this command center through visual data sources. So that's collecting data with drones, 360 cameras, and laser scanners. And then through a unified platform, we can do things like track progress, visual documentation, and then performance dashboards so they can see heads or tails, again, how their project is doing. Then we can communicate globally through subcontractors, architects, owners, ourselves as the GC, and then material suppliers. And then future directions, kind of getting into that realm of digital twins. It's still a relatively new concept in our industry. It's time to start adopting this in our workflows. One thing we can do, this is a platform called NextSpace, where I can bring in a mesh of my building, click on it. I can include all those photos I've been taking in Procore so I can see over time how my project has been doing. I can add visualization to it. So this is from a drone video. I threw it into Luma Labs, and it creates a mesh. So helping the owners kind of visualize their project and get excited about it. Having said that, now a superintendent can touch all these projects from the home of their office. If you can see in the bottom, that's Waxahachie, Texas, and in the north is McKinney. It would take forever for a superintendent to touch all those projects and see how things are doing if they need to go put out fires. We want to become smoke detectors and not firefighters, so now they can control all these job sites from the office. Some data, 60% of firms still haven't adopted digital twins, whereas 32% are starting to get going with it. I think that's something that we should be doing all together and can be done with collecting all that data consistently and implementing it into our workflows. Thanks for coming. You can scan this, add me on LinkedIn. Love to get connected. Any questions?